Welcome back. In my last video regarding targeted individuals, was titled Radical New Advice for Targeted Individuals. Because that video is an hour and 40 minutes long, I decided that I would start to put these concepts into smaller segments. Now, this video is going to be called Stopping Targeting in Real Time, aka Reality 101. So in my first video, you will find the concept that you create your own reality. This is what I will call Reality 101. Think about it. What is reality? Reality on this dimension or density of the universe is designed like a mirror holographic projection of your thoughts and emotions, and those thoughts and emotions are frequencies which essentially get reflected back to you in the mirror. You send out certain frequencies, meaning your thoughts and emotions, and you attract back to you those things which you are thinking about, which you are a match to in some way. This can be a little bit of a difficult concept at first, but when you really think about it, when your mindset, the entire basis of how I explain stopping targeting is the idea that when your mindset becomes so ascended, the quality of your thoughts and emotions, meaning the quality of your composite frequencies, when that becomes so dissonant, so different from the frequencies involved with targeting, which are a bunch of paranoid, scared, controlling, rageful, crazy people in secret agencies, mostly, you are no longer compatible to be able to co-create a reality with them. The frequencies don't match it, so it literally cannot occur in your reality. But here, I will give you a real example that you can go and take a look at on the comments of my video, Radical New Advice for Targeted Individuals, which is the hour 40-minute long video. On my last video, I attracted, actually not one, but more than one troll, who, the main one, he went by Reptilian Overlord, and provided quite a few details about how I would die, namely by induced mind control suicide by hanging on Christmas Day. Okay, yeah, right. And he also said quite a few seriously inappropriate things that, when you have organized gang stalking going on, that those are the sorts of things that they will say. Now, regardless of if this guy is just kind of a random loon, or if he's actually involved in some kind of operation and just kind of being used to harass me in the middle of whatever operation, I can still place my own ideas into practice in real time and show you. Now, first, we must notice the stimulus. So you're going about life and you decide to take control, that you're creating it, and you notice a stimulus. For me, that is this commenter, Reptilian Overlord. And also, I might note, I really must have been very correct in my targeted individual video and in this video to gain that degree of backlash from someone like that. Alright, so you've got the stimulus, whatever, negative thing is done to you generally. How did we, myself and Reptilian Overlord, co-create the situation? I looked at his comments, and it became apparent to me that I had not been actively loving my enemy. Not only that, but I saw that my soul stream was trying to evolve in the fastest way possible. And to do this, one creates contrast. Contrast is something contrary to what you want. So I invited in contrast to my life to propel me in the direction of what I do want. What I do want is to provide a way for my enemies to come out of darkness, to be able to teach them and to give them hope. I began to look deeper into what I saw in Reptilian Overlord's life, and I was a little bit shocked. You see, anyone with, I'm going to say this, half their brains still screwed on straight, particularly humans, not the reptilians necessarily, but humans, will know that I will survive a long time past this Christmas. Humans, who watch me, study me, you guys know that I'm going to survive past this Christmas. It's pretty obvious. This is known and understood because I am simply too protected by this time. This is not really hard to understand. It's also not really hard to notice either. I saw and was shocked that Reptilian Overlord was actually being used as a patsy. Once his mission fails, which it will, meaning I won't die or anything, there will be a collective excuse to either harm him, sacrifice him, do different things to him to take the energy of his fear, pain, and anger and such. And remember, in my first video, I explained that energy is used, siphoned off of you in a target situation to continue to do it to you. So basically, when all this goes through and Reptilian Overlord's kind of like, oh, none of that worked, and she doesn't even read what I say anymore, that provides the opening right there for him to become abused and for things to be done to him. So I believe if he does not attempt to switch sides before this Christmas, he is the one who is in danger, not me. This then provides even more background as to how the situation came to be. Whether he knows it or not, he has come to me for help. Yes, you have, Reptilian Overlord. The reason you commented. How did you create yourself into a situation where you ended up commenting on my video about targeted individuals? Because you became one, you got turned, you got overwhelmed by the demonic force and such, and you're not aware that actually you need my help. Think about it. Now, real reptilians, because he's not a reptilian, he's a human with a reptilian handler. That's what's going on. I say real reptilians, so have interacted with me, seen the errors of their ways, and actually decided to fight with me rather than against me. Most of them prefer to remain anonymous. There's only one who will not remain anonymous because she's a badass and is not afraid of the backlash, which I think is power to her, but I will not draw more attention to her. Everyone knows who she is. Now, doing that, changing sides, is a lot harder for a reptilian to do than a controlled human, like Reptilian Overlord. So, frankly, my reptilian friend thinks that this guy is pathetic. However, I must take another position. We have landed here by discussing stopping targeting in real time. Remember when I said that in my other video that if you experience backlash, you are undoubtedly headed in the right direction? Yes. Well, that is what is occurring here. This means that not only are my concepts correct, but that reptilians find them frightening because I'm so correct. When this happens, say these people like Reptilian Overlord were right in your face physically, like physical gangstalking, like what I experienced in San Ramon, California. What you must do when you're physically accosted is summon up your unconditional love. You can practice this by yourself. Imagine the scenario. Okay, I'm walking down the street and this happens, or something else happens. And okay, how am I going to react? You can practice it to yourself. You have to bring up unconditional love. And you can also think of, this is an Arcturian method, the violet fire of transmutation, or violet flame of Saint Germain. You can think of that as well. Same thing, basically. And see that being given to your enemy as if it's a gift. Also, you can feel yourself as being protected by your star family, your guides, angels, whoever, whatever kinds of helpers you affiliate with, spirit animals, anything of that nature. And usually your enemy cannot see these presences. Even if you can't, well, that's one thing, but keep in mind that they usually can't see them either. So that's an advantage for you. I would like to stress something of the spiritual aspect of stopping targeting. You can approach this from a very strict metaphysical standpoint and simply work on it in a self-help kind of way, kind of like I've described. But if you connect with what you would call spirit guides, you instantly begin to have added layers of what you might call understanding and protection at the same time, and your ability to create a reality and change your frequency in a way so that you can't be interfered with, it becomes stronger if you connect to, say, a particular star system that you might be affiliated with, or angels, or spirit animals, or any kinds of guides, ancestors, anyone, to deceased loved ones, anyone who is beneficial in the spirit realm and the higher dimensional realms who will help you. For me, it has been both angel type beings and the Arcturians, who have very much so watched over me. And so that is something I think for each of you to discover for yourselves. Sometimes you might have a feeling about a certain thing, a certain type of guide, or a certain system, or a certain set of beliefs. Simply go with your instinct as you feel led in the direction to go, so that you can connect with your spirit guides or your soul family or star family. And that gives you even more ability to create a scenario, to create a life scenario where you do not experience targeting phenomenon. There can literally be two realities that exist at once. In one reality, think of this in the Matrix. In one life, now in one reality, you are on a list of TIs, and occasionally frequency weapons get directed at you, and you're watched 24/7, and go on and on and on. In another reality, you can simply be walking around as if you've got blinders on. You don't notice that if something tries to be aimed at you that is a frequency that's too dissonant from yours, it will just simply bounce off of you. You can literally walk through attacks and not be harmed, or not even notice. I've had this happen where what you might call, well, the gangstalking or gaslighting phenomenon, where people are saying things around you that are specifically pertaining to you. I once had a group of people who were aware of what they were doing, specifically doing that to me, and I I would carry on conversations with them, but as soon as they would say something targeted at me psychologically, I would literally just check out as if I was staring off into space. And they began to discuss amongst themselves how they were baffled at how every time they would try to sneak something into the conversation to mess with me, I would simply no longer be paying attention magically. That's how the frequency concept works. My frequency was so dissonant, so different, that I literally would not even notice. And so that is how you can have one reality where you're on a list of targets, and in another reality, you are living your life where you literally do not even notice any kind of phenomena around you, because you have constructed your reality in such a strong, positive way. But when negativity has occurred, so the idea is to literally create a space where you cannot even be targeted, where it cannot even happen in your reality using your frequency. But when negativity has occurred in your reality, like say a reptilian overlord commenting and death threats and all kinds of things on my last video, now your reaction is what is most important, and that is what is going on right now, my reaction. So, I have someone comment with death threats on my last video. How do I respond? Well, firstly, I let this poor person know that they have been set up, because I'm very unlikely to die. I won't elaborate on why, but as my goal is to help my enemy. If you focus long enough on creating an empowered world for yourself, eventually you will create it. So I am guilty in creating this situation to assist me in my quest for enlightenment, because this encounter creates expansion. Having someone react this way to my video causes me to think, analyze, and respond. That is expansion of the universe. Creating this video as a digression on the subject, that is expansion of the universe, telling the universe, what do I prefer, what do I not prefer, what am I not, what do I think, what do I not think, what do I like, what do I not like. Now similarly, Reptilian Overlord has created this situation because his soul is trying to notify him that he needs help. You could also give other reasons as to why it matches. For example, I want to put out information, he wants to suppress information, so that ends up matching. But when you think of the core issues behind why him, why that particular video, what is really going on here, it's because he is unaware that he is actually asking for help. So now let us look collectively at what I have done. I have taken a potential threat and used it as a tool for expansion. This creates a completely dissonant frequency to that of being targeted. Thus, I've completely adjusted focus away from a frightening situation and instead used it as a learning tool. If you find yourself in a continual target situation, just keep doing this. From one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. Take the situation and say, what can I learn from this situation? How am I grateful for this situation? How am I expanding because of the situation? Why did I create the situation? What must have gone through my higher self's mind to allow this situation to crystallize? Because it must occur for a reason. It must suit me somehow. I must have to learn something from it. Find ways to learn from or be grateful for the circumstance you are in. If you continue to do this, you eventually cannot match a reality or frequency of being targeted because your frequency is just too different. Remember that the main person who makes you a target is yourself. and your mind becomes your own worst enemy. Stop associating everything that goes wrong in your life with how they did it. When you do this, focusing on, oh, they made me do this and they made me do that, your focus is placed on what is going wrong in your life or on lack. And being that reality is a holographic mirror projection of our thoughts and emotions, you're thinking about, oh, how they did stuff to me. You will then experience more stuff that they do to you. It's essentially experiencing more of the same about how things have gone wrong. If, however, you place focus on what has gone right in your reality, you will begin to see more and more of the same of what is going right. That is why the technique works. If you are in an acute targeting situation, when you look for what is good in the situation, moment to moment, if it's a very serious situation, that is what slowly moves your frequency into the opening where you can escape the targeting, or to where it starts to taper off and stop. So I hope this has helped you. Remember that this is all in your focus. It's all about how you focus your thoughts and emotions. I've once said that I believe one of the first things that a human can learn is how to adjust and control their focus. Really think to yourself, for people that are targeted a lot and have a mentality of, oh, they did this to me today, they did this, that's constant every single day, and then they did this and they did that. Think to yourself of if you have held the mentality that you're a victim earlier in your life, or think to yourself as to what kinds of beliefs, core general beliefs, either that you already had or that you've begun to develop through the course of the targeting, that are continuing allowing the targeting to occur, that you're not worth it, that you have very low self-esteem, that you're a victim, that you are powerless, that you are worthless, that you might hate yourself, that you might have issues with your image, or how you appear to other people, either in physical characteristics or your character. Think about these things and begin to address them one by one with each issue. But the simple way to just start beginning to stopping targeting in real time is doing what I just did. So, all right, I put out my video about advice for targeted individuals. Bam, I get hit back with some backlash of a guy who was obviously very knowingly and mockingly gang stalking and trying to act as if he's part of some sort of black ops probably type thing. He probably not, but if he thinks he is, he's probably not really, but he must think he is. We see, how do I respond? Do I respond by saying back to him the same things he said to me? I only at one point said something a little bit mean to him just because I thought it was funny, because it's something my dad says all the time, and you can find the comment there if you'd like to see it. Only one mean thing to him. But other than that, I simply responded very calmly to him and said, "You're going to be the star of my next video, actually, did you know?" So what I've done is taken what would be something that would be seen as very threatening, especially to me because of what I went through last winter. It was very intense. It was deadly. So for me to be presented with that kind of material again, it does present a red flag. So it does register as a real threat in my mind. But instead, what matters is how I process that. Do I decide that it's going to be a threat? Or do I decide that it's going to be a learning experience? Do I decide that I'm going to expand from it? Or do I decide that I'm going to cower in a little ball? No, I think I'm going to decide to learn from it. I'm going to decide to use it to increase the quality of my thoughts, emotions, reactions, and interactions with other people to a higher, more spiritual state of being. And to close, I cannot stress again enough the spiritual aspects of this. You will really find quite a bit more success in ceasing your targeting if you become spiritual in some way. You can be a devout Christian. You can go into the New Age movement. You can do a combination of all sorts of things. You can be Buddhist, etc. But the discipline of spirituality and the various teachings of different types of spirituality really do assist in applying these concepts that I'm talking about, as well as things like loving your enemy, things that Christ taught, because that is what we must do. And again, remember, whenever you are targeted, think of the person who did it to you, whoever it might be, and imagine directing your love towards them. And you can imagine a violet flame around them, or a violet fire around them, which is designed to help them ascend into higher states of consciousness, so that way they're on your side and not on the side of, getting their soul trapped or sold or eaten by a reptilian or God knows what. So with this, I will end this episode of Arcturian Philosophy. I really hope you benefited from this, and good luck to all you targeted individuals. If need be, I will continue to make videos about this topic, but for now, I will bid you all adieu. So blessings to you all, Arcturian Philosophy.